Welcome back, guys, it's Dell here. Today we're going to check out the Starfall model kit from Iron Toys. Let's see what this edgy 00 base mecha has to offer us. And as always, I got this kit from Gundam.com, my go-to place for third-party and independent release kits. And whenever you're over there checking them out, be sure to go in that top left-hand corner and type in supporter code DELL. Whenever you purchase stuff, it just gives me points. So it helps out the channel with no additional cost to you. Well, besides hurting your wallet's feelings by buying more plastic. But thank you, and the link will be in the description. Now let's get back to that review. Starting off with the unboxing, we once again get some great box art to admire before popping it open. Inside, we're going to find a total of 38 runners. Those coming in black, dark purple, clear purple, painted gold, and gray. Next, we're going to have our LED units, a bag of screws and clear action base arm for holding up some of the heavier weapons, several LR41 batteries and a magnet, a bag of screws, metal inner frame parts, instructions, and finally, a sheet of water slide decals and full stickers. And a quick side note, you will need a Phillips head screwdriver for this build, as none is included in the kit. Naturally, before we get started on the build, we gotta take a look at our instructions. First off, we're gonna find the list of contents so we can double check that you have everything. And please note, on the 2U runners, part number 3 will be missing. But don't worry, we don't need it as it's been incorporated into the metal frame. Next, we get to actually start building, and as we can see here, yet again, it lists the runners you'll need per part. So I think I'm going to start trying to go more in depth with the building of the model kit itself. So starting off with building the head, the assembly was fairly simple, but uses a good amount of stickers. The kit has clear plastic eyes, so if you wanted to paint them, you could. But we have two options of full stickers here, gold or red. I opted for the gold to match the rest of the kit. And then there's some camera stickers, 2 on the front and 1 on the back of the head. Be careful with the small triangle one, as mine got a little mangled putting it on the V-fin. And finally, there are 2 we put on the sides of the head that are going to slide underneath the clear purple to make it catch that light even better. Building the chest, we're going to be using our first metal frame part and LED unit. Once again, fitment here is very good and had no problems. Luckily, the kit includes all the LR41 batteries you'll need. The metal frame part is pretty big and is most of the chest unit, so we honestly don't build that much before the chest is all done. The arms were really easy and quick to build, as is most of the kit so far. Man, that pre-built inner frame really speeds up these builds. There seems to be some tight fittings on the shoulder, which we will see in the articulation segment, and the holes for pegging the hands in are extremely tight, which might be a plus when it comes to its big weapons. Use your own judgment here. Sand the inside of the hole if you feel like it's tight enough to break a peg. Mine are tight, but it doesn't feel like it's close to snapping or anything. The waist was my first thing to glue, as these little gold parts on the front skirts just did not want to stay on. Other than that, it went together easily, as 80% of the waist is just the metal part. And on the rear skirt, you have the options of subarms or beam saber holders. Now the legs are easily the most complex part of the main unit and took me the longest to build, having the most metal parts and using some of the screws from earlier. But having all the metal parts in there mean the legs are extremely solid and robust, but I actually ran into a couple of problems here. The metal part for the lower leg was an extremely tight fit, so you're going to want to be sure to sand down the hole that it plugs into. And you may notice all these clear purple parts on the side of the legs. Just like the rest of the clear purple for the kit, they have full stickers under them, so that they catch the light better. But the instructions here were really kind of bad. They're really badly mislabeled, or I guess you call it misprinted even. I'll throw up some pictures here so you can. Why do we even talk anymore? You know, you come in here, you make a script so you sound, big smart guy. Then you just end fumbling over your words. Yep. I'm good at this. I swear. But the instructions really suck here. They're really badly mislabeled. I'll throw up some pictures so we can look at them. I tried to correct them, but I think I might still be wrong on them because they don't look quite right. Because you'd think you would have enough to do the same on both sides, but you don't. But with all that aside, the legs are great and add a really good center of gravity to the kit, making it very stable. So overall, it was a pretty good build for the main unit. Almost everything here is undergated and the plastic quality is superb. Even if you had some nubs, a lot of them will be hidden with some smart part placement. Now with the main unit done, I think it's time to slide over for some size comparisons. So the Starfall comes in at 22 centimeters, or 8.6 inches. Here the Starfall is against the Entry Grade RX-78, Master Grade Gundam Mark II, the Master Grade Talkies, Master Grade High New Gundam Verka, Master Grade Gundam XX, and Master Grade 007 Sword. Alright guys, so we're starting off with the accessories of the Starfall, and first off, we're going to start with the hands as usual. And so we got the pair of closed fists on the model itself. We get a pair of widespread dynamic hands, some finger gun hands, some weapon holding hands, with a movable ball joint here, some stationary holding hands, trigger finger hands, and some really angled weapon holding hands. Tilted? You know what I'm talking about. We got some beam saber effect parts. And for those, we can either grab these off the back here, or there's also two more stored in the back of the arm. So we can just take that and plug it in there like that. Or we can just have them holding the beam saber like normal. I do think it's kind of a missed opportunity to have 4 beam saber effect parts instead of 2, since he has 4 beam saber handles, but you know, not that big of a con. We got these 2 little subarms that go in place where those beam sabers were stored. You just have to take it apart a little bit, then put these in place, and you can use these to mount some of the shields that were mentioned earlier. But these are optional. I just prefer it with the beam sabers on the back. Here we have his backpack. We got some little bit movement here on these arms, and they can go, you know, all the way around. We can move the thrusters up here from side to side, and we do get some movement. Oh, I'll drop it now. I guess moving up here on these fins. And for attaching it, because you may notice here on the back, we got a little part on here. All we got to do is take these off like that, which reveals our backpack slot. And we plug in there just like that, and you can stay with it on just fine. There's also some holes here on each side, which will be used for storing some weapons later on. But yeah, just finally, you know, another third-party kit with a pretty simple backpack versus an entire, like, separate kit being the freaking backpack. We have these 2 very cool large swords, and I forgot to mention, I'll go and get into it. All the weapons attach your good old classic style with a peg in the hand, slots in there, holds it very firmly. But these guys have a couple of gimmicks we can do. So to start off, if we go ahead and just take off this beam saber effect, we can extend this out a little bit, and we get it. Oh, there's which way it goes. Yeah. There we go. Hold it in there like that. And then we can get this out. Come on, fingers. Got big fingers, guys. Tweezers. There we go. And it can fold out to a beam rifle mode. Pretty simple, but it's cool. And then let's just fold that back up in there. We get this out. We get that back in there. And let's put our beam saber effect back in here. It goes this way. Like so. Then we can take these and we just sandwich them together like that. The handles will overlap each other to form one solid handle. I can get tops these though. Tops don't line up exactly. It's probably just because from some tolerance issues. And then we take these on the back here. We could just pull that out. Pull that out. So see how these are supposed to. There, they just hold it like that, and then you have it in like big two-handed sword mode. And for storing this, if you so wish, we got like 4 of these little attachment parts, and we're going to take one of those and just plug it into one of these holes here. And those holes from earlier, we'll just plug it in there. And there you go. Weapon storage. Almost forgot to mention, you have another option for storing them. That part likes to fall off. So for storing those, we can slide this little part down on the side skirt, and that's going to reveal another hole to where we put the same attachment point in there, and you can also mount them in like one-handed sword mode on the side skirts. Let me find that part. Yep. There we go. So yeah, be sure to glue. Just be sure to glue this part on here on the front of the chest. We're dropping parts. We're not even on the articulation part yet, man. Come on. All right. Here we have the big rail gun. We got some flip-out handles here on each side. And so I had a problem with this. This golden barrel part right here, right? So let me go ahead and just show you the expansion gimmick here. Now, normally you can see I can move this bottom barrel back in and extend it. So when I built it, I got this all to extend once. And then now the upper part will not slide back in, and I have like took a rubber hammer to it and like even done like unga boonga on the desk, and it still won't go in. So let's just fix like that right now, which is fine. I prefer to have it in its expanded mode. But as you may recall from earlier, this kit has some LEDs in it. So we can take our magnet here. I cut the back so I don't lose it. And we just touch it right here. Oh, lights up. Lights up down the barrel. And, okay, so this part right here is supposed to light up too. But I didn't realize until after I had it all complete that the clear part that's supposed to point down to accept light, well, mine's facing up. So you can install this incorrectly. Don't be like me. Double check. Install it correctly so you get a big light up chamber. But we get an effect part here to slide in the barrel. Goes up against the light there, and lights up just a little bit. It's not that great. It looks kind of cool, but the light doesn't travel that far through it. So, again, yeah, my barrel's just permanently extended, but I mean, it looks kind of cool. And to turn these off, we just have to give it another push. These are kind of there we go. And for storing this, it doesn't matter which side you take off, but we get to remove one of these handles. Then you can either use the same little peg from earlier, or we have some little arms here that we can peg in there. And then we peg this on the other side of the backpack. We drop it first, and then we can install it there on the backpack. And he's still standing thanks to that solid die-cast inner frame. And speaking of arms, we get many of these articulated arms. We have another smaller one, several different extensions, and to be fair, I did build as many as the manual told me to build, but even then, still have a handful of extra parts to build some more out of. But now, you may be asking, why do we have all those arms? Well, because we have these little shield bits, and we get a total of 8 of them. These were fun to build. Yeah, we get 8 shield bits. And these, some pretty simple articulation on them. Spread them right there, and we can pull out the tops and bottoms. But on each one, you'll notice we have 2 holes. Well, we can take these arms and just plug them in here like this on either way, and then we can just plug them in like so to create some linked shields, which, you know, with using the extensions and stuff is how you're going to get, you know, the box art with them all on a fan like that. So you can make a couple sets of those. You can use the smaller arms to store them on the side of the backpack, or we get, if I can find them, we get 2 of these. And we're just going to take those and we plug it into a shield. And we're going to have everything be in the way. But we got these little slots on the front of the arms. And we can just peg that in, so you can have the shields on the arm as well. And so we get 2 of those, so we can do either on each arm. Up here we have the action base, and it has, guys, it has storage. It has storage underneath, so you can put all the extra hands and bits down in here. We love to see that. But as far as using the action base, it's a little different versus most of them we see so far on the channel. So, for instance, if we want to tilt this whole thing up or down, there's no latching and pulling. It's threaded. So we can take this and we just spin it up. Sometimes it's a little finicky. There we go. See? We just spin that. And now it's raising. Like that. And same thing up here. Got this wheel in the back. We just turn that. And it starts lifting up. I mean, that's neat. That's different. And then up here, as always, we do have the push and lock mechanism on it. I just figured, yeah, there we go. Push that there, get it where you want it, and then you just lock it back up into place. But yeah, unique moving gimmicks, storage, got a little sticker plate there, great little action base. And since it's kind of related, we got this big, long, acrylic, posable, it's probably not clear plastic, posable arm for help holding up the bigger sword and gun in some nice aerial poses. So we got that magnet from before. We got 3 extra batteries for the kit. Here's what's left of the sticker sheet. You can see right there we got those red eyes I didn't use and some extra stickers here. And the water slides, you can see I used a good bit of them on the robot. I want to do accessories, but as I made a post about, I'm really short on time, so I don't have time to sit here and decal up all the accessories and stuff. But I feel like on the kit itself, stickers, some of the decals are needed as it helps break up this really dark colored mecha with some nice white and pops, and really does something for the appearance of the kit. I almost forgot to show off the other LEDs in the kit. So we take our magnet from earlier and we get it around here in the chest. You see that the chest lights up. And what you can't see is, so some light actually comes up through the neck. And so it will show a little bit through the eyes, but I find that it just looks better with the stickered eyes, and you're not going to have the lights on 24/7. And also some of it comes up here through the head, but there's stickers there as well. So I mean, realistically, if you knew how to put a really strong LED unit in this thing and make it really light up, but as far as the ones that come with it, they're fine. It's just kind of hard to see in my set, but they do look good, and they're very easy to install. And go ahead and show how to access them. I find using my nippers for this makes it a lot easier. So we take our back plate here, and we're just going to get our nippers in there. We just turn it to unlock, and we just pull this out. So I took some blue tack and added it on here so that this all comes out as one unit. And then our LED unit will just slide right out. This is so much easier if you have smaller hands. Let me get my sword. Use ceramic tweezers so as not to touch metal close to your battery. And there we go. There's your LED unit with your 2 batteries in there. So it is fairly easy to get to. And like I said, just throw some blue tack on there to make the lid of it easily removable. Get up there. Let's go back in there. Let's get this in there right. There's little notches in there. You have to line up notches from the LED unit with. And be sure you have the light poking up. So just light pointing up. There we go. That just pops it down in there like that. And then you got little notches to line up the backpack slot with. And then we just give it a turn to lock it in place. There we go. Very easy LED unit. Alright, we're going to move on to the articulation here. We have some good head movement. Oh, yeah, you might notice I'm missing a part here. So, I didn't realize how easy the sides of the head were to come off, and he took a fall, and it popped off somewhere, and now it's lost in the dimension that is the carpet. I looked for it. I can't find it. It's okay. If he's looking this way, you can't tell. But we get some head tilt up and down. Our arms here, if we pull us out, we get a really good butterfly joint, front and back. We can get the arm out, like so. The shoulder here does not move that much independently, but we do get a double jointed elbow and not much wrist movement. I think this this part right here is supposed to tilt, but it's really tight. I don't want to break anything. But other than that, you can turn the wrist as they're just on a ball joint. That piece on the chest fell off again. Cool. And, you know, we don't get that much of an ab crunch forward, but we do get one hell of a tilt back. I don't know why that's a thing. I double checked reviews to make sure I didn't install anything wrong. I didn't. That's just supposed to be like that. We get a little opening hatch here. There's a tiny little pilot figure down in there. And we do get a full twist here. We get some good movement here on the front skirts. The side skirts really just go up and down. And back here, here's another part you want to glue in. The little clear plastic parts in these. Same thing, tumbled, fell off, can't find it. But we can move these up and down. And then these beam sabers right here are posable, of course. But we can't get the front leg up that far, because we can't raise the front skirts just like directly up, because it gets caught on the armor. We can get them out pretty good ways. Can't go back very far. But we do get a good bend of the knee with some armor separation gimmicks. And we can pull this down. There's a little missile in there. And that's removable. You see you have the missile out. But that's pretty cool. Oh. Had another part come off. We're just going to quickly put that back on, though. There we go. We can move the front of the foot armor here a little bit. Not much on the side, but, you know, we do get a really crazy ankle pivot. You can just go either way. And we get a nice foot bend and a little bit of toe bend here. You can go out, and we can move the ankle itself forward and backward a little bit. Overall, I mean, not the best posing I've seen. But we do have that solidness of a full metal inner frame to work with. So I think you can get into some pretty dynamic poses, but just, you know, it's not no real grade God Gundam. Alright guys, so we're coming here to the end of the review. And what are my final thoughts concerning the Iron Toys Starfall kit? Well, I haven't built their other kits yet. The Star Destroyer or the Star Eternal. I have both of those. They just keep losing the viewer polls. Shout out to you guys for voting. It's freaking awesome. But from what I've seen, the Star Destroyer was a little bit rough as far as fitting issues are concerned. And the Star Eternal seemed fine. But as far as the Starfall kit, besides the issues I've had with the legs in the beginning of the video, it was a really great build. And I really love the aesthetics of it. Just that black, purple, and gold. That's like mainly my color aesthetic. I love that. You get plenty of accessories, the LEDs are included with plenty of batteries, and all the different attachments, storage options, everything. The action base has storage in it, and for like the price of it, that's so much plastic, and not to mention the metal inner frame, which we'll see over time if that loosens up any or not, but at the moment it's solid, it's robust, it can hold the weight of everything. It's going to come a heavy recommend from me. And once again, I will state, yes, these videos are sponsored by Gundam.com, but my opinions are my own. And it seems like almost every video is like, yes, this is a good kit, this is a good kit. But these third-party manufacturers have just gotten pretty good at making model kits these days. I mean, Debon is still going to be Debon and not have that great quality control. But overall, like, they've really stepped up a notch in the Chinese third-party market, and I'm excited to see what else Iron Toys does, considering they seem to be really big 00 fans. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I am so sorry for the late video. The next one might be a little late too. Life is just super hectic right now, and I'm trying my best. Because for me, this is still just a hobby, and real life stuff takes priority. But please remember to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you love what I'm doing here and want to see more. Until next time, guys, you all take care.